I'm 76 now, and if there is one regret that still sits quietly in my chest, it is this. I told my family too much. Not because they are all bad people, not because I stopped loving them, and not because family should be treated like strangers, but because old age teaches you quietly that not every truth needs to be placed in someone else's hands. Some truths are too delicate. Some plans are too private. Some pain should not be given to people who do not know how to hold it gently. When I was younger, I believed that telling family everything was a sign of trust. I thought if I opened my heart, they would understand me better. I thought if I explained my worries, they would comfort me. I thought if I told them my plans, they would support me. I thought if I shared my fears, they would protect me. But age has a way of removing the pretty wrapping from life. You begin to see things as they are. You learn that some people listen only to answer. Some listen only to judge. Some listen only to use what you say later. And some, even if they love you, simply do not have the maturity to handle your vulnerability. That is a painful thing to admit about family, because when you are old, you do not want conflict. You do not want drama. You do not want to spend your remaining energy defending yourself from the very people you once sacrificed for. You want peace. You want dignity. You want to wake up in the morning without your heart feeling heavy from yesterday's conversation. And that is why I say this with care. After a certain age, privacy is not bitterness. It is wisdom. The first thing I regret telling my family was how much money I had. I did not think much of it at the time. I was not bragging. I was not showing off. I only wanted them to know I was managing. I wanted them to feel that I was not a burden. I wanted them to stop worrying. But the moment some people know what you have, they begin to look at you differently. Not always openly. Not always with cruel words. Sometimes it comes softly. A small request here. A little emergency there, a suggestion that you should help because you are not using it anyway, a comment that you do not need much at your age, a reminder of all the things family has done for you, even when you remember doing far more for them. And slowly your savings stop looking like your safety. They start looking like everyone else's backup plan. This is where many of us make the mistake. We confuse love with unlimited access. We think, they are my children, my relatives, my blood. Why should I hide anything? But money in old age is not just money. It is your independence. It is the roof over your head. It is the medicine you may need. It is the help you may have to pay for when nobody is available. It is the ability to say no without being afraid of where you will sleep or who will take care of you. When you are younger, you can earn again. You can start over. You can recover from mistakes. But when you are older, recovery is slower. Energy is limited. Time is different. A financial mistake at 35 is painful. A financial mistake at 76 can change the rest of your life. I am not saying you should distrust everyone. I am saying you should not confuse disclosure with love. If your family needs to know certain information for serious reasons, write it clearly, keep it organized, and speak with the right trusted people. But do not casually tell everyone what you have, where it is, who gets what, and how much you can afford to give. Because once people know the size of your basket, some will come with bigger hands. Remember this. Your money is not proof of your love. Your savings are not a public announcement. And your old age should not be spent funding the irresponsibility of people who refuse to grow up. The second thing I regret telling my family was every detail of my health fears. Now listen carefully because this one is tender. There are times when family should know about your health. There are moments when you must tell the right person what is happening, where your documents are, what your doctor said, and what kind of help you may need. But that is not what I mean. I mean I regret telling too many people every fear, every pain, every small symptom, every worry that crossed my mind before I even understood it myself. When you get older, your body starts speaking a language you did not have to learn when you were young. A pain here, a weakness there, a night when you cannot sleep, a morning when you feel less steady than before. and sometimes fear arrives before the facts do. In those moments, you want comfort. You want someone to say, "I'm here. We will handle this calmly." But not everyone responds with calm. Some panic. Some become annoyed. Some dismiss you. Some use your health worries to treat you like a child. Some begin making decisions around you instead of with you. Some suddenly speak to you as if your mind has already left the room, just because your body is getting older. And that hurts. It hurts when you share a fear and someone turns it into a family meeting. It hurts when one small health concern becomes gossip passed from one relative to another. It hurts when people start watching you too closely, not with love, but with suspicion. Are you sure you can live alone? Maybe you should not be handling that. Maybe it is time we take over. You are getting old now. Those words may sound practical to the person saying them, but to the one hearing them, they can feel like a door closing. I did not understand this until I was much older. Some information must be shared with responsibility, not emotion. Do not hide serious health matters from the people who truly need to know. That would be foolish. But do not pour every fear into the ears of people who cannot separate concern from control. Choose one or two calm, reliable people. Keep your important medical information organized. Ask questions. Get proper guidance. But do not let fear make you hand your dignity to the loudest person in the family. Old age already makes you feel vulnerable in small ways. Do not give careless people extra reasons to make you feel smaller. The third thing I regret telling my family was my plans before they were ready. I used to think sharing plans early was harmless. Maybe I wanted to move somewhere quieter. Maybe I wanted to sell something. Maybe I wanted to change how I spent my days. Maybe I wanted to travel, simplify my home, give something away, or stop doing something I had always done. So I would mention it. Just a thought, just a quiet idea, just something I was considering. But family can be strange with an older person's plans. Some will encourage you, but some will immediately begin measuring your plans against their own convenience. If you say you may sell your house, someone wonders what that means for them. If you say you may move, someone worries how far you will be from their needs. If you say you may spend money on yourself, someone reminds you to be careful. If you say you want peace, someone acts offended that you want distance. If you say you want to make a change, someone treats it like a crisis. And before you know it, your private plan becomes a public debate. People who never asked how lonely you were suddenly have strong opinions about where you should live. People who never helped maintain your home suddenly care deeply about what happens to it. People who rarely visit suddenly become experts on what is best for you. But the hardest lesson came later. I learned that many people do not oppose your plans because your plans are wrong. They oppose them because your plans disturb the role they assign to you. They are used to you being available. They are used to you being predictable. They are used to knowing where you are, what you own, what you will tolerate, and what they can expect from you. When you change, they feel inconvenienced. So now I believe this. Do not announce every plan while it is still soft. Let it become clear inside you first. Think it through. Write it down. Ask qualified advice where needed. Consider the consequences. Then share only what must be shared with the people who must know. A plan told too early can be weakened by too many opinions. And in old age, you do not need a crowd around every decision. You need clarity. You need peace. You need the courage to choose what protects the life you still have. The fourth thing I regret telling my family was the depth of my loneliness. Loneliness in old age is not always about being physically alone. You can sit in a room full of family and still feel unseen. You can receive phone calls and still feel like nobody really hears you. You can have children, grandchildren, siblings, neighbors, and still carry a quiet ache that no one notices. When I first felt that loneliness, I wanted to tell them. I wanted them to understand that I missed being included. I missed being asked. I missed being remembered without having to remind people I existed. So I said things I probably should have said more carefully. I feel forgotten. Nobody visits anymore. You only call when you need something. I feel like I do not matter. Those words came from pain. But pain does not always reach people the way we hope. Some became defensive. Some said I was being dramatic. Some said they were busy. Some reminded me that they had their own lives. Some visited once out of guilt, then disappeared again. And that almost hurt worse, because a visit born from guilt does not feel like love. It feels like obligation wearing a polite face. And this next one is painful, because it often involves family. When you reveal your loneliness to the wrong people, some will use it as proof that you are weak. They may start treating you as needy. They may avoid you because they do not want emotional responsibility. They may call less because now every call feels heavy to them. They may say, "You need to get out more," as if loneliness at 76 is solved by a simple walk outside. I learned that loneliness should be honored, but not handed to everyone. There is a difference between asking for connection and begging for attention. If you feel lonely, do not pretend you are made of stone. Find healthy ways to build small routines. Speak to people who listen with patience. Join quiet communities if you can. Keep your mind active. Create small anchors in your day. Make your home peaceful, not like a waiting room for people who may never arrive. But be careful about repeatedly placing your loneliness in front of people who have already shown you they will not handle it with care. Your loneliness is not shameful, but it is sacred. It should not be given to people who will step over it. A quiet life is not an empty life. Sometimes it is simply a life no longer begging to be chosen. The fifth thing I regret telling my family was my regrets as a parent. This one still feels heavy. When you grow older, memories come back differently. You remember the years when everyone was busy and loud. You remember raising children, working, worrying, trying to keep the house together, trying to provide, trying to survive your own disappointments while still being responsible for others. And then, when the house becomes quiet, the mind begins to ask questions. Was I too strict? Was I too soft? Did I listen enough? Did I work too much? Did I hurt them without knowing? Did I give one child more patience than another? Did I say things that stayed in their heart? Those questions can humble a person, and sometimes in a moment of softness, you may confess too much. I once believed that telling family all my regrets would bring healing. I thought honesty would open a door. I thought if I admitted where I failed, love would become easier. Sometimes that happens, but not always. Some people receive your regret with grace. Others use it as a weapon. They bring it up in arguments. They add to it. They make you carry guilt for things you cannot change. They forget the sacrifices and remember only the wounds. They use your humility as permission to punish you again and again. And if you are not careful, you will spend your old age standing trial for a life you already lived with imperfect hands. I am not saying never apologize. A sincere apology can be a beautiful thing. If you hurt someone, and you know it, there is dignity in acknowledging it. Age should not make us proud and blind. But there is a difference between apologizing and surrendering your soul to endless guilt. Some children want healing, some want control, some want an apology, some want a lifetime of repayment. You must learn the difference. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Regret should make you wiser, not smaller. Say what needs to be said. Make peace where peace is possible. But do not keep bleeding in front of people who only come closer when they see blood. You were human. You made mistakes. You carried burdens they may never fully understand. You can be accountable without becoming a prisoner. Sometimes dignity means saying, I am sorry for what I did not know then, but I will not spend the rest of my life being destroyed by it. The sixth thing I regret telling my family was private conflicts with other family members. This is one of the easiest traps to fall into. A daughter says something hurtful, so you tell your son. A sibling disappoints you, so you tell another relative. A grandchild ignores you, so you mention it to someone else. You feel wounded, and you want someone in the family to understand your side. At first, it feels like relief. You think you are simply sharing your pain. But family conversations have legs. They walk into rooms you never entered. They grow new words you never said. They return to you wearing a different face. Before long, what began as a private hurt becomes a family story. People take sides. People repeat pieces. People add emotion. People remember only the part that serves them. And suddenly, you are not just hurt. You are also blamed for speaking. In old age, family conflict drains the body differently. When you are young, you may argue and recover. When you are older, a harsh conversation can disturb your sleep, your appetite, your blood pressure, your whole day. Peace becomes more valuable when your energy becomes limited. That is why you must protect your mind from unnecessary family storms. Not every disappointment needs an audience. Not every insult needs to be reported. Not every conflict needs to become a family discussion. Sometimes the wisest thing is to step back, breathe, and decide whether the matter deserves your remaining energy. I regret the times I spoke while still wounded. I regret the times I trusted relatives to keep my words gentle. I regret the times I thought sharing my side would bring fairness when it only brought more noise. Now I believe this. If you must speak about a family conflict, speak slowly, speak truthfully, and speak to someone who is not hungry for gossip. Better yet, write your feelings first. Let the anger cool. Ask yourself, do I want peace or do I want witnesses? Those are not always the same thing. The older I get, the more I understand that silence is not weakness. Sometimes silence is the fence around your peace. You do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not have to correct every version of the story. You do not have to prove your pain to people committed to misunderstanding you. Let some things pass without your fingerprints on them. The seventh thing I regret telling my family was my final wishes before I had made them clear. This is a serious one, and it must be handled with care. As we get older, we begin thinking about things younger people avoid. What happens to our belongings? Who should handle certain responsibilities? What kind of care we may want? What should happen if we cannot speak for ourselves? How we want to be remembered? What should be done with the little and large things we leave behind? These are not easy thoughts, but they are necessary. My mistake was speaking about them casually before I had written things properly, before I had asked the right questions, before I had made anything clear. A casual sentence can create confusion. You say, I want you to have this, and someone remembers it as a promise. You say, maybe I will leave that to your brother, and another person hears rejection. You say, I do not want trouble when I am gone. But because nothing is clear, trouble begins before you have even left. Family can become very emotional around final wishes. Love, grief, money, memory, jealousy, and old wounds can all sit at the same table. And when things are not clear, people fill the empty spaces with their own expectations. That is dangerous. I learned that final wishes should not be scattered through casual conversations. They should be handled with seriousness, clarity, and proper guidance. Do not make vague promises to keep people happy in the moment. Do not say different things to different relatives because you are trying to avoid conflict. Do not use inheritance or belongings as a way to control love. And do not assume that people will know what you meant. They may not. And even if they do, emotions can change what people are willing to admit. This is not legal advice, but it is life advice. Make important matters clear in the proper way. Talk to qualified people if needed. Keep documents organized. Tell the right trusted person where things are. Reduce confusion before confusion becomes conflict. Your final wishes should bring order, not chaos. And more than that, do not let people pressure you into discussing everything before you are ready. You are allowed to be thoughtful. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to protect your decisions until they are clear. Old age teaches you that peace is not only for while you are living. Sometimes peace is something you prepare for those who remain. But preparation is not the same as careless disclosure. Say less until things are settled. Then make things clear. That is wisdom. There is one more thing I want to say because I know some people will misunderstand this message. Keeping things private does not mean becoming cold. It does not mean punishing your family. It does not mean living with suspicion in your heart. It does not mean you should shut out everyone who loves you. No. A bitter life is not a peaceful life. What I am talking about is discernment. There is a kind of openness that brings closeness, and there is a kind of openness that invites harm. There is a kind of honesty that heals, and there is a kind of honesty that hands your peace to people who are not careful with it. As you get older, you must learn the difference. You do not owe every detail of your life to every person who shares your last name. You do not have to explain your savings, your fears, your private pain, your plans, your regrets, and your wishes to people who have not shown they can respond with maturity. Love does not require you to be unprotected. Family does not require you to be exposed. And old age does not require you to be available for every opinion, every request, every judgment, and every emotional demand. There comes a time when you must become a quieter person, not because you have nothing to say, but because you finally understand the cost of saying too much. Some words cost money. Some words cost sleep. Some words cost respect. Some words cost independence. Some words cost peace. And peace, when you are 76, is not a small thing. Peace is being able to sit in your chair without replaying an argument. Peace is opening your phone without fear of another demand. Peace is knowing your private matters are not being passed around. Peace is making decisions without a crowd of voices in your head. Peace is loving your family without letting them run your life. I have learned that the older you get, the more carefully you must choose who gets access to your inner world. Not everyone deserves the map to your heart. Not everyone deserves the details of your home. Not everyone deserves to know what you have, what you fear, what you plan, what you regret, or what you are preparing for. Some things belong between you and God. Some things belong in writing. Some things belong with a trusted professional. Some things belong with one calm person. And some things belong only inside your own quiet heart. If you are over 60, over 70, or even older, please hear me. You are not wrong for wanting privacy. You are not selfish for protecting your peace. You are not cruel for saying, I would rather not discuss that. You are not weak because loneliness visits you. You are not unloving because you no longer share everything. You are learning, and old age, if we let it, can become a great teacher. It teaches us that not every relationship can hold the full weight of our truth. It teaches us that dignity must be guarded gently. It teaches us that silence can be an act of love toward ourselves. It teaches us that being careful is not the same as being afraid. So if I could sit across from you quietly, just for a moment, I would say this. Tell your family you love them, if you do. Help when you can, without destroying yourself. Share what is necessary, with wisdom. Prepare what needs to be prepared. Apologize where your heart knows you should. Forgive what you can, even if you keep your distance. But do not give everyone the keys to every room inside you. Some rooms must stay locked for your own peace. I'm 76, and I do not regret loving my family. I regret believing that love meant telling them everything. Now I know better. Love can be honest and still have boundaries. Love can be warm and still be wise. Love can remain in the heart even when certain doors remain closed. If this message speaks to you, share your age in the comments, or tell me one thing you have learned to keep private as you've grown older. You may be surprised how many people are carrying the same quiet lesson. And if no one has told you this lately, let me tell you now. Your peace still matters. Your dignity still matters. Your life still belongs to you.